Meeting to order. So first thing on the agenda is call to order. I just did that, and then a roll call.
Yes. Commissioner McLeod. Commissioner Moman.
Here.
Commissioner Pilch.
Present.
Chair Pearson.
Here. So the next thing is I'm going to read the land acknowledgement. The City of Albany recognizes that we occupy the land originally protected by the Confederated Villages of Lejeune. We acknowledge the genocide that took place on these lands and must make strides to repay the moral debt that is owed to this indigenous people, specifically the Ohlone tribe. We thank them for their contributions, which have transformed our community and will continue to bring forth growth and unity. The City of Albany commits to sustaining ongoing relationships with the tribe and together build a better future for all that now make this their home. Next thing, item 2 on the agenda, has anybody had any ex parte communications?
No.
Okay. Item number 3 is the consent calendar. Item 3.1, approval of minutes from January 28th, 2026. Does anybody have any comments about the minutes? Does anybody want to make a motion?
Let me see if anyone in the audience or online wishes to speak on the minutes, the consent calendar. Please either come up to the podium or use the raise the hand icon. No.
Okay, so does anybody want to?
I will move the consent calendar.
Second.
I'll take the roll call. Commissioner McLeod.
Yes.
Commissioner Moman. Pardon?
Yes.
Commissioner Pilch.
Yes.
And Chair Pearson.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, so the next thing on the agenda, item number 4, public comments. So these are public comments for items that are not on tonight's agenda. So does anybody in the audience or does anybody online have any public comments? If so, if you're online, raise your hand. And if you're in the audience, please come up to the, what is that called?
We call it the podium.
Podium.
No.
Nope. Okay. Item number 5, discussion and actions related to the following items. So item number 5.1 is the 2026 annual progress report on the housing element. And so staff is going to make a presentation.
Great. Good evening, Chair Pearson, members of the commission, and members of the public. Tonight, I'm Leslie Mendez, the planning manager for the city, and tonight I'm presenting our annual progress report for the City of Albany. This is, hold on one second. Excuse me. So there is no action required by the commissioners. This is a presentation and an informational item only. Each year, the city is, well, not just our city, all jurisdictions are required to provide the status and progress in implementing the housing element. These, what is called the Annual Progress Report, or APR, is due to the Department of Housing and Community Development, or HCD, by April 1st of each year. We actually had a pretty exciting year. This year, when we calculated the number of units are calculated by the number of building permits issued, but we had applications submitted for number of dwelling units is 21, which is pretty much on track for the last 2 years. Building permits issued, we did issue 215. The large jump we had was due to the 207 mixed-use project at the Albany Bowl. So that was issued at the end of last year. I will let you all know, if I think I may have mentioned, we did do an entitlement extension agreement with the development team. So we do not expect that to break ground this year. We are hoping for next year. So we are trying hard to make this project a reality. I think it will really vitalize this part of San Pablo Avenue, as well as provide new homes for future residents. And we also issued certificate of occupancies or completed 89 units, which is also quite a jump. And that does include the Saha project, which we call Verona Hill, which is out on out by the highway there. So it's been 2025 for the City of Albany has really been a banner year. So this year, the state passed law that required 2 more affordability categories for housing element and RHNA, which is the Regional Housing Needs Allocation. So these are not new categories in terms of HUD, but for terms of our reporting, it has divided the very low income that was 50% or below area median income to now limiting very low income to over 30 to 50% AMI, which is area median income, extremely low, which is one of the newer categories, which is over 15% AMI to 30% AMI, and then acutely low income, which is 15% or below AMI. So the new area median income are released by HCD. They tend to come out in April, so we do not have the new numbers yet, but same as last year, the AMI for Alameda County, as well as Contra Costa County, for a family of 4 is $159,800. So this is building permits issued by income category. As mentioned, HCD tracks housing affordability metrics based on the date of building permit issuance and does request us to divide up our building permits issued by affordability level. We have previously and have been able to continue what we consider the 30-30-30-10 formula for our ADUs, which means based on an affordability survey that was really spearheaded by ABAG, but local jurisdictions participated. Due to the results of that survey, all jurisdictions within the ABAG region or the Bay Area may continue to count ADUs as 30% of them as very low income, 30% as low income, 30% as moderate income, and 10% as above moderate income. This year we also have 22 very low income. So one of those is an ADU. The other 21 are or will be the deed restricted units that were the qualifying units for density bonus for the Albany Bowl project. One thing, I'll come up to this. So this is our RHNA, again, our Regional Housing Needs Allocation Progress. So the county, the state divides the number of housing units estimated for a planning period, the 8-year planning period, and gives it to each of the regional council of governments. Our council of government, which is ABAG, or the Association of Bay Area Governments, creates a formula to divide the number for the region into each jurisdiction. Albany's regional housing need allocation, or what we call RHNA, is 1,114 units that we are supposed to provide within the 8-year planning period of 2023 to 2031. And that is divided, as you can see, by very low, low, moderate, and above moderate income. Even though we are now tracking acutely low and extremely low, from now on, we don't at this point have an allocation, but we will at the next cycles. So as you can see, our current year, 2025, really helped to bump us up towards our RHNA allocation. So we had a total of 215 units this year, which gives us 314 units to date, and we have a remaining RHNA of 800. I did check in with Saha, and they do have, in the Saha project, they have, I think it is 9 units that would qualify as extremely low, so they wouldn't be on this category, but I am going to revisit and resubmit a modified APR to HCD so that we can get credit for those for the prior years. Part of the annual progress report is also following up on the work that we have done on housing element program implementation. So there is more detail in the staff report itself, as well as the attachment. It's Table D. And I apologize for anyone who looks at Table D. Actually, that's one of the more legible ones. The APR Excel sheet does not translate well as an attachment. However, we have done a lot this year as well in the past year. Things that went before the Planning Commission and ultimately approved by City Council were zoning amendments, single-family zoning reform, which I should say you all changed the allowable structures within these R1 zoning to allow different types of buildings to be constructed. We also passed the residential care facility, emergency shelter, low barrier navigation shelter, single room occupancy housing, employee housing amendments, both to comply with state law and to modify zoning to make or to facilitate the placement of those different facilities in our city. In July of this year, it was the City Council adopted an administrative citation ordinance to assist in our development of our code enforcement program. We have a contract with Wilden Engineering, and we have been moving forward setting up a program, and we have ongoing, let's call it boots on the ground with actual code enforcement officers. So we are closing some projects that have been out there for a while, so that's really good news. We're also participating in the county's housing rehabilitation program in their minor repair and older adults loans. These are available for lower income homeowners within the city. So if you know anyone, any low income homeowner can qualify for a minor home repair of up to $3,000. And if you are as well a lower income senior homeowner, you can qualify for one of the age-in-place retrofits for up to $5,000 that can be combined with the minor home repair for a total of $8,000. So this is an exciting program that I hope you share with anyone you know that might be qualified and be interested in the program. There's information, it's going out in our newsletter. However, folks can contact me as well if they want me to direct them to the correct county agency. And the other thing is we've been working year-long on rent review program review as well as tenant protections. The Housing Advisory Commission has been meeting once a month, and it provided a forum for participation to discuss various tenant protection options for a local program. We had a study session before the City Council in December, and we just brought it to City Council for direction on next steps in March. So that we are going to continue work in this upcoming year, but just wanted to share what we've been doing in the past year. And that ends my presentation, but I am available for any questions you have.
Thank you, staff. I think we'll start with any questions that any questions?
Oh, you can go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to know, would the RENA commitment be revised in future to include those new income categories, and do we have those?
So it's my understanding that RENA will not be revised for this current cycle. However, that we start tracking it now, and then from next cycle forward, we will be getting allocations for each of the new income categories.
Okay. And then I was going to the level D, table D,
Correct?
and there are different categories, like some are completed, some continue, some still to be looked at. So wanted to know, like, is there any deadline, by which you have to finish all those programs so that they are effective?
Well, yes. So all the programs in Table D are in our housing element, and they came with a timing, a deadline. Some of them are continuous, so you'll see that, and some of them had many programs with some continuous, so it was a little difficult to track. I will note that by the time our housing element actually got certified, we were already behind on some of our timelines, and we were not the only jurisdiction, so we are moving forward. But the best we can do with, I think we're moving forward heartily. We do have 57 programs, or I think 57 or 58 to which we committed to, and I believe we're making good effort. I did a little color coding for myself, and I think I put it in there so you can see the gray ones are the ones that are actually completed. That doesn't mean the other ones we haven't done, it's just they're ongoing. The green ones, this is my own little note to yourselves, are things that I was highlighting of what we can be starting to work on as part of our work program moving forward, which are related to zoning amendments, I think along Solano and the R3 district. So those are ones that I want to start now that we got a good chunk out of the way. We're going to keep going. So look forward to future progress.
And then there is also a item related to student housing.
Pardon? Can you?
There is an item related to UC student housing, trying to make it count towards our RENA commitment. That is a big number.
Yeah, that is ongoing. I know our colleagues at the City of Berkeley are concerned about that too, trying to get that going. And sure, Davis, Santa Cruz, and all of our jurisdictions that have UCs in particular. It is something I don't think we've made much headway. Maybe Chair Pearson, if you know any updates about that.
Oh, yeah, same thing for projects that are on district property that are not under city jurisdictions. We're working with the jurisdictions across the state are working with HCD to try to get credit for those units.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. And then this ballot measure for Measure K modification. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so Measure K was passed 1996. Don't quote me on any of these dates. So Measure K is the amendment or the ballot initiative that passed on the large private hillside property that limited density. And one of the housing element programs is to put a ballot measure on the agenda to change that. We have looked into that, and it's complicated. We're not moving forward with it, but it is a private piece of land. Per state law, zoning changes that are part of your housing element are not subject to CEQA. Unfortunately, the state law was silent on related general plan amendments. So currently, our legal counsel says that unless it's specifically stated or brought to the jurisdictions, the related general plan amendment would be subject to CEQA. So where that gets us is a property owner that we need to work with, but you have to kind of present all these pieces because if the city puts on a ballot initiative, we need to have the CEQA done, which would be an EIR. So we're trying to balance this, hoping that the legislature will close that little loophole. So that is a little bit not on this year's agenda. However, another housing program element is to repeal Measure D, which I think was a 1978 ballot initiative that did several things. It rezoned a certain portion of the city to the single-family zoning. It restricted parking. However, that was later repealed, that rescinded the parking ratio. And third, it requires certain voter initiative for changes to the R1. So we would like to rescind that so that we can be, let's say, try to be more creative with our zoning without having to go to the voters each time. So that we are going to be bringing authorization to City Council in late spring, and hope to put it on the November ballot.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Pilch?
Yeah, thank you. Mohammed spoke to this a little bit, but there's these new categories, acutely low and extremely low. So when we put new housing units into these categories, for the current RENA cycle, does that mean that we're able to add these new categories up and count them as in the very low category? Okay.
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
They'll still count as very low.
Perfect. All right. Then that's my only question. Thanks.
Any other questions?
Yes, I was just wondering about waterfront, also another ballot measure, rescinded or on the ballot. That's got some relevance to opportunities, et cetera. There may be a lot of reservations about actually putting housing there,
Yeah,
but what's up with that?
yes, so that's the third, this third ballot that is on our properties is on the waterfront that covers Golden Gate Fields. So that is Measure C, thank you. So that is not part of our housing element program, so it's not part of the discussion today. I know that there may be some action going. I'm not aware of what that is. So really, our city council would be the best place to bring it up. We did have a study session back in September, I think it was of 2020, September or October of 2024, to bring, and at that point we had kind of disparate opinions on how to move forward. So it has been a little bit on hold on the city's end. As you all know, part of the property is in Berkeley too, so we would need to work collaboratively with our neighbors. And then I know that the owners were trying to sell it to the state, but at this point I have no update on it.
Well, a specific provision of it, Measure C, prohibits housing on that site.
Correct. Correct.
Problematic for trying to build more housing here.
But for housing, yes,
So,
as well for many
lots
things.
of other things going on.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
And then before we go to public comment and then close this out, I just wanted to thank staff for their work on this report. Like, you guys bringing it to us before you submit, I know it's always a huge effort. And also, when you say there are 57 programs and then you show us on one slide, it may not look like much work, but that you closed out 8 things, or that you showed progress on 8 programs is impressive. And it's also super exciting, the progress we've made on RENA. Same thing, like when you look that we've only made close to 25% of our RENA. You have to remember that our RENA was tripled in the last cycle. So kudos to you for getting the certificate of occupancies and the building permits issued, and I hope in the next couple of years that we continue to make this progress. So not really a question, but.
Oh, sorry, I had one more question. And I want to echo what our chair just said as well, and appreciate that. Just the tables that are in the attachment, in the second attachment, are those all things that came from the website, from the state housing website, HED website? Yeah, okay, because I went and looked there once before, and it looked very similar, so.
It's
yeah.
difficult. Our staff try to make it more legible, but if you do see the actual Excel spreadsheet, you can zoom in on it, but it takes
Yeah.
like mega zoom because it's so tiny.
But any one of us can go to the HED website and also
Yes.
pull up these things, so.
Yeah, so this current APR, we haven't submitted yet. We are going to city council at the next meeting, which is Monday, whatever date Monday is, I apologize. And after that, staff will be submitting to HCD, and then I don't know how long it will take for them to upload it to their website.
Gotcha, thank you.
So I think we need to see if there's anyone in the audience or if there's anybody online that wants to comment on this item.
Nope.
Okay, well then we'll close it out and move on to presentations. We have 2 presentations tonight.
Don't we make comment now?
Well, it's just a discussion. I thought that,
Still have comments.
okay, feel free.
Okay. Nick, do you want to go, or you? Okay, well, yeah, thank you for all the work on this. Impressive, and, it's pretty impressive. We got into a pretty good total so far, which is encouraging. However, I am a little worried about going forward that we're going to regress back to maybe, 20 units per year or 25 or something. So with that in mind, I really would encourage us to really look at the zoning zoning programs, because that's kind of where the crux of the matter is. You know, I know we rezoned, or we changed, what was it, 1A, we changed the naming of how we describe our units. We didn't really redevelop the underlying development standards or change those. So that's, I think, where the crux of the matter is also. If we don't change the underlying development standards, whether we call it a dwelling or a single-family residence is kind of irrelevant unless the standards change underneath. And the other thing, you know, I think for me the most important programs are 4A, 4B, and 4D, which I know you've said you're planning or wanting to move forward with, but you know, that is where, if we're going to have some meaningful progress in the future, that's where it's going to come from. It's not from just sort of sitting pat on what we've got, I think. And we also have to think about not just this cycle, but we have to prepare for the following cycle. And given the lead times and planning times that are entailed, that, you know, like, let's say we had a Solano Avenue specific plan, by the time that would be completed 3 years from now, or God knows when, you know, it's really just preparing the field, the playing field for the next cycle. So I would really encourage us to, you know, really dive deep into Solano Avenue, specific plan if we could. You know, I think that's the perfect corridor for more housing. There are 4- and 5-story buildings along Solano at various places, and you don't even notice them. So, you know, it's the perfect mix of, you know, retail, residential, transit. It's like the perfect place to be building more housing. So, you know, that's kind of where I'm at. I just really think we need to work harder on rezoning and 4B, you know, upzoning R2. And if there is a way to do a specific plan for Solano Avenue, I think we should really be looking at some grant money or whatever it takes. You know, even if we don't need it this cycle, we're going to need it on the next cycle. So it's time to, you know, start moving ahead with that. All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Well, I'll just add on to that. I haven't had time to delve into this in detail, but I agree with Commissioner McLeod's comments, and I do think that jurisdictions are continually, it seems like many jurisdictions are continually rethinking their zoning or their fee schedule or development standards in order to make sure they are continue to attract housing development especially now that the atmosphere is not as good for housing development. I know my only example comes from El Cerrito, where I know they did either they changed their fee schedule or they did something to try to encourage more housing there. So I would agree with that we need to be continually marching forward, and there's a lot more we can do in terms of zoning to encourage housing development.
I'm curious if, sorry, I don't know this, but in adoption of the housing element, did CEQA cover any specifics about this upzoning, or would these 3 programs require CEQA?
Well, new state law that took effect this year, and I don't remember the Assembly bill or the Senate bill number, would exempt the CEQA for zoning changes related to housing element programs. If there's related general plan amendments, we're not sure that we have that coverage, so then CEQA would apply. But the CEQA we did for the housing element wouldn't cover the programs that we.
Would cover? Or
It would not, no.
You would have to do.
Correct.
CEQA. I mean, that's another issue, is that, you know, some of the work that we see being done at other jurisdictions is covered by grants that the state had for PDAs, for SB1. There was a lot of funding that was available in the last round that hasn't been made available this time. So these programs are expensive, you know, expensive for for these planning processes to move forward. So, maybe thinking about the cost and prioritizing which moves forward, because all three will not be able to move forward. And, yeah, I mean, imagine you guys are looking at that, but
Yeah.
it's a lot of work.
I think we're ready to do the work, as Chair Pearson brings up, the finances are a different matter. So unless grants, we are not in a position to fund this out of our budget at this moment. So unless grants come available, we are working on the low-hanging fruit, so to say, so that we can get some things done. The other thing is we would really like to reach out to this is a little bit of an op-ed, but to reach out to the property owners on San Pablo Avenue, because we have a very permissive San Pablo-specific plan, and unfortunately, I would like to think that it's not really, we're not seeing the results of that because it tended to coincide with a not very favorable financial market. So what you've mentioned about, yes, and I also think this is the time that to reach out to San Pablo to get that going, because it might not be quite right to break ground, but this is the time to do the planning and get those units entitled.
And also, I mean, I think also recognizing that the opportunity sites that were identified in this housing development doesn't occur, and we don't meet our RENA, then that means in the next cycle, we're going to be allowed.
Right.
And so, it's state law is written in a way that sort of recognizes that jurisdictions are not going to be able to do the 56 programs. I mean, I don't know, I mean, the stats from last time, the number of jurisdictions that met RENA, the number of jurisdictions that finished all their programs, like it's very small. So, I mean, what's that? Yeah. So I think there's some controls that are written into the laws to ensure that development will continue to happen. If we as a jurisdiction don't do what we've committed to do, we're going to lose our local control, and then development is
So are you saying that if the opportunity sites aren't utilized, that those sites become by right after at the end of the 8-year cycle? So they can build whatever they want, basically, or what?
No, they need to build what is allowable in the underlying district. It's not builder's remedy. What it is that it's a ministerial process at that point.
Well, it kind of is anyway.
Many of the ministerial, yes, I agree, but many of the ministerial processes actually include, higher amount of affordability and sometimes labor requirements prevailing wage. So this would be a straight by right allowance.
It sounds like we don't want
Which would
that
be a
to
win-win, I don't know.
happen. Or what do you mean?
Could
Or
be.
we want safeguards and those other things. I mean, the odds of, no jurisdiction is going to complete 100% of their programs, or I would be surprised if we hit our target number also. I still think we have to make good faith efforts and do as much as we can to get there. State's also getting more, say, coercive, but they are getting more punitive. The previous cycles, they weren't quite as coercive or threatening to withhold funding or lose your grant money from other things if you didn't hit your targets, which now they are being more, let's say, persuasive in that sense. So, they're, see how that goes. Anyway, it is expensive. Okay, we've been talking about CEQA, and I just want to clarify for myself, okay, it's expensive, but what kind of order of magnitude are we talking about?
It depends, an EIR can run easily $500,000. Generally, 250 or on the lower end,
Okay.
250,000.
And that could be potentially required for a zoning upgrade to a certain area.
Correct, or general plan amendment. So,
We didn't.
again, we are keeping our ears and eyes open, so it's not that we are not wanting to do the work, we're just managing our workload with the resources we have.
And hiring consultants and all that is also 200,000 or something.
That would be part of the CEQA, but yes, generally you'd hire a consultant to lead
Like we did for the
for a small agency like we are.
San Pablo plan. And we didn't need CEQA for the San Pablo,
There was an EIR.
oh, an EIR. I thought it was minimal then. But okay. On.
Okay, so we'll close out this item. Thank you, staff. And moving on to presentations, presentation 6-1, planning application PA 25-053, 536 Pomona Avenue.
Yes, Chair Pearson. Good evening, commissioners and members of the public. My name is Mira Han, and I'm here to present use permit and design review PA 25-053 at 536 Pomona Avenue. So the project site is a 5,390 square foot corner lot located at the northwest corner of the intersection of Pomona Avenue and Thousand Oaks Boulevard, with Key Route Boulevard to the west and Lynn Avenue to the north, which is not shown on our zoning map because it's in El Cerrito. The lot is developed with an approximately 807 square foot, 5-bedroom, 2-bathroom, split-level home constructed in the Spanish Revival style in 1943, and a detached 1-car garage, which is shown over here. Let me just see if I can have my highlighter here. I don't know if it's visible, but yeah, you can see the site plan there. So on the left-hand side, that's the garage that is accessible from Thousand Oaks Boulevard. The residence has an existing non-conforming right north side yard, setback of 4 feet 7 inches, where a minimum of 5 feet is required. All right, so in summary, the project request includes a 243 square foot addition or 2-story addition at the front right, northeast side of the house, which includes also a 53 square foot porch. This addition requires a use permit to extend the existing non-conforming side yard setback. And highlighted in the blue as well to the left side of that elevation is a 303 square foot addition at the rear left southwest. That portion is facing Thousand Oaks Boulevard. So in all, it's a 2-story addition with a maximum height of 21 feet and 8 inches. It's not raising the existing height of the house. And so after review, staff has concluded that the project meets all development standards of the R1 district. It is consistent with all the residential design guidelines. We were able to make all the use permit findings for this project. It is categorically exempt from CEQA. No public comment was received. So with this, we recommend the Commission to approve application PA 25-053, subject to findings and conditions of approval. That concludes our presentation. Questions?
Thank you. Do I open the public comment now? Public hearing now?
First, questions by the commissioners, and then the public hearing, and then discussion.
Okay, so questions from the commissioners? I have one question, and I'm sorry if I missed this in reading the report and the plans. Was it a 1-unit project, and now it's a 2-unit? Is this the one, or no?
No, it is an addition to an existing single-family residence. However, future plans include the conversion of a part of the basement, the new basement, into an ADU.
Okay, so it's single family, addition to single family, and in the future. Okay,
Correct.
great, thank you.
And those are concurrent plans?
They are, yes.
Okay, that's our only question. So we're going to open the public hearing, and then we can open for public comment.
If you'd like to speak on this project, please raise your hand. I see.
Anyone in the audience want to speak on this project? The owner or the applicant in?
Applicant is online. Would you like to speak, Enrique? Zachary, the owner? Nope, but they're available if you'd like, if you have any questions.
Okay. Okay, so no questions. I opened the public, we got the public comment. Do we close the public hearing? Okay, so, and do we take a motion to do that? Or do we just close it? Okay, so close the public hearing and discussion. Anyone have anything to say?
Yes? Well, let's see. I appreciate moving the entryway from the right side of the house on the short side to the left. I think it makes it much better, much nicer design. Can you pull up the elevations? I'd like to look at the south elevation. Please.
So these are existing, okay, south elevation.
Yeah, I think the elevation, the front entryway is a big improvement. You know, it makes it more inviting. I think the interior works better. On this elevation, I guess the only things I would talk about from a design point of view are the narrow window. I think it's kind of out of character. Appreciate that one being more like the others. I don't really like the flat roof line here. When you look at the front elevation, they've done a nice job of varying the roof lines a little bit. Yeah, the one right above it, entryway. Yeah, I think they've done a better job of varying the elevation, the roof lines, having some tile, keeping with the Spanish Revival style. But when you look at the other one, which is actually, in a way, a much more prominent elevation, the roof line kind of really lacks, for me, kind of definition and interest. I mean, I would appreciate, like, if they had another, like, little parapet up there with Spanish tile, but otherwise, I am very happy to support the conditional use permit extending a wall at 4'7" from the property line. It's very minimal impact on anyone, and we've approved much closer. In fact, we've approved 0 lot line extensions. That's well within keeping practices. I support the project. I would like to see that one window changed, bathroom to match the others on the south facade, and the applicants would do something with the roof lines to either add some tile or make that up a little bit. I would appreciate it. That's all. Thank you.
Anyone else?
You want to go ahead? Yeah, I agree with some of the comments by Commissioner McLeod. This is a great improvement from the current condition, of course, and I think this new design makes a huge difference with, it makes it more responsive to the corner condition as, you know, compared to the existing condition. I'm not sure if this front mass would have a pitch roof. I think the pitch roof that they have on the west side responds well with the large balcony there. If you go to the next sheet, that I think is a big feature, and I think that would be more visible looking at, you know, the actual street condition there. We have like large trees along this along the south face. So most of the south face
That's the west side. That's the backyard.
This is west, yeah. And so south face, that, you know, if you go back to the, yeah, this is covered by
That's the
those
street
trees.
side.
Right, this is south actually. So this I think would mostly covered by the large trees. So, but I agree with Commissioner McLeod, those windows kind of, you know, don't go well with Spanish Revival style. And I agree that its horizontal window provides light to the bathroom, but, you know, it doesn't align with the rest of the window, the other 2 windows on that floor with their head, and same thing happens on the west side. So wondering if those could be aligned, the other two windows, that could at least, so it's some kind of congruence in that case. Yeah, other than that, I don't have any major comments. I support this project.
I'll say, I hadn't thought about the window, but I think your points are well taken, and I think that the design of the window could be changed to have better balance. I'm not sure about the roof. I'll say that I'm partial to flat roofs. Have a flat roof, it doesn't have the design. So I didn't notice that as an issue. I mean, if everyone else is in support of that, then I wouldn't. I would go along with it, but it's not something that I think is necessary to balance out the house. So I really like the design of this project. I like that we're planning for the future by thinking about creating an ADU, which is another unit, and so I fully support this project. I like the window idea. The roof.
Since after having heard my colleagues, I'll just jump in with a couple of things. One, I also don't mind the roof line, and don't think that needs changes. But I wanted to ask my colleagues about it's the window. Apparently that's a bathroom where there's a higher narrow window, maybe a clear story window. But that is for privacy, I would imagine. So what would you do if you had what would you do differently? How would you address privacy and have a window that matched better?
You could have opaque glass and put up a curtain.
Okay.
Very simple.
I think it's a matter of 6 inches of extra height. Like,
Oh, okay.
it looks like 2.5 feet tall, or maybe, or 2 feet. And so if we want to align the head, it would be maybe 6 inches shorter.
Okay.
These are, really long, like 6 feet long windows. So reducing some height would not, and also like that bathroom has same kind of windows on both sides.
Yeah.
So it's it will not have a major impact in terms of the light coming in from through those windows.
Okay.
You
Well,
can see that on the west facade also they have the same window.
thanks. I just wanted to ask that question. I'll defer to the more design-oriented members of the commission on that.
So does anybody have a motion that would?
I had one more thought. Landscape, I would like to see a street tree added to the Pomona Street planting street. Be along the other side, but there's an opportunity to put a street tree on Pomona. I would like to.
So I'm just going to interject right there that all our projects are subject to review by our city forester, and the decision to either plant a tree or not is Public Works and our city forester. So, but we will note your desire for that, but we can't dictate what goes on the public right away.
So they would review it and approve it?
Correct, yes.
Fair enough. I
and
would say,
yes.
no.
And
I'm saying no, we would.
And just one other thing, because I learned this not that long ago, is the trees don't get planted. If a tree is required, it doesn't get planted project by project, but it gets identified, and it's they have special planting times where they'll do all the trees at one time. So
We have required street trees in the past.
you probably gave a nice suggestion.
I think it was part of the conditions of approval. Pretty sure we have, but anyway.
And I think
Been
they
a
also
few
have
years.
they also have to look at the distance from the corner, considering this is a corner lot. I think because of the visibility, of the turnings.
Correct. They look at site distance, they look at other competing interests such as driveways, utility, underground utilities, not here, but bus stops, anything else that might be in the way, and make sure that, overhead wires, everything, to ensure that whatever is planted is going to hopefully be healthy and robust.
Any more discussion from the commission? No? Does any-
Question, are they going to upgrade the garage? Look, from the Google Street View, garage looks kind of very old.
There are no changes
There are no
on the
changes.
garage proposed at this time.
Anyone want to make a motion?
I can. I move that we approve project 536 Ramona with the condition being to change the south-facing bathroom window to a double hung to match all the other windows on that facade. And can't make it a condition of approval to have a street tree, but strongly encourage a street tree to be planted on Mona. I don't need to add anything about the roof. Seems like there's a consensus. The roof line's fine with me.
May I have a clarifying question? Can you pull it this up? Would that double hung window match the orientation of the window towards the right there? I don't know.
To the right,
Yeah,
right.
as well as the others? You'd be amenable to that?
I'm sorry?
Well, four of the windows are sort of vertical and one is horizontal. And I just want to ensure that when you say match the other windows, are you saying the double hung?
The
or-
double hung window,
Okay,
yeah.
great. The
The
vertical.
ones on that plane.
Okay.
And it could be smaller, but at least match in style the other. It's condition of-
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Roll call?
Commissioner McLeod,
Yes.
Commissioner Moman,
Yes.
Commissioner Pilch,
I'm going to abstain.
and Chair Pearson.
Yes. So that, that project is approved. Oh, this is you always said this, like, so for 2 weeks, the story polls will remain.
During the appeal period.
During the 2-week appeal period. And then after that,
After that, staff will let you know if there's any appeals, but otherwise the permit is effective and you can take down the story poles, and congratulations.
thanks. One. Okay, so next item on the agenda. We have presentation number 6-2. Yeah,
And I have to interject at this time. I'm going to recuse myself from this project since it's less than 1,000 feet from my own residence, and also leave the meeting since this is the last substantial item on the meeting. I'll listen to the rest of the meeting online. Thank you. And we still have a quorum, so.
Thank you.
great, thank you. Okay, so item 6-2, planning application PA 26-002, 511 San Carlos Avenue. Does staff have a presentation?
I'll let Commissioner Pilch leave the room. Thank you. All right, good evening. This next hearing item is planning application 26-002. It is a design review for 511 San Carlos Avenue. The subject site is a 3,600 square foot lot, which is located on the east side of San Carlos Avenue, 5 parcels south of the city limit with El Cerrito, and with Thousand Oaks Boulevard to the south. The lot is developed with an approximately 1,270 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, split level home in the McGregor bungalow style that was constructed in 1930. It also has a detached 1-car garage located in the rear right or the southeast corner of the lot that is accessed by a driveway that runs along the southern property line. The residence has an existing nonconforming front yard setback of 14 feet, 3.3 inches, where a minimum of 15 feet is required. Project request is to construct a 318 square foot addition at the northeast or rear left portion of the house. The addition consists of raising the ceiling height and adding 147 square feet to the rear of the existing storage and laundry room to create a new family room, and constructing a new 171 square foot second story addition to create a new bedroom and bathroom. The addition is set back approximately 33 feet from the existing front facade, with the ground floor constructed flush with the existing left or north facade, and the second floor cantilevering 7 inches over the ground floor. The project also includes replacing the rear deck or more entryway with a 60 square foot deck at the rear of the home, and the project would result in a 1,545 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home with a maximum height of 19 feet 4 inches. No changes are proposed on the front facade of the residence or to the garage. So the project meets all development standards of the R1 district. The addition would be constructed with colors and materials to match the existing home, so it's consistent with the residential design guidelines of our city, and it's categorically exempt from CEQA. We have heard nothing from neighbors, no public comment has been received. Therefore, staff recommends that the commission approve the project subject to the findings and conditions. I will note that the applicant architect is here, and I'm not sure if, but I'm here to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll go to commissioner questions. So I will open the public hearing and ask if anyone in the public, either in the audience or online, about this project. If so, please come forward to the podium.
You don't need to, but.
Howard McNenny, architect for the project. So we're taking a 3-bedroom and 1-bath house and making it a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, but with a family room that actually qualifies as a bedroom. A fairly dramatic, for Albany anyway, that's a fairly dramatic change. But from the street, the change will be barely perceptible, I suspect, because we're raising the roof about 2 feet. The color, the materials, and the detailing is going to match the existing. We're not trying to redesign the entire house. So it's a very simple rectangular addition, basically, and we're not trying to do anything too fancy. It's a straightforward project.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anyone online have any desire to speak?
Please use the raise a hand icon if you'd like to speak. Nope.
Okay, well then we'll close the public hearing and take it back to the commission for discussion. Would you like to speak?
Yeah, I have no problem with this. Like the architect said, it's very minimal impact, very visually, set back from the street. It's going to make the house more livable, a lot more sensible in a sense to, move in and out and have a nice family room for your kids who are here. They probably need the space to run around and jump around. So I support the project 100%. Almost been on the consent calendar. The only thing I would do, I would add a skylight at the stairwell and your little box or a bigger window on the side there. It'll bring more natural light into your stairwell. I think that would make it a little plus. Other than that, yeah, fine project. I support it. Make a motion.
No, I support the project as designed. Yeah.
So I had a thought, I thought that one of you, or I thought someone was going to ask about windows, additional windows on A22. There being a couple spaces where there seem to be blank walls.
Pull up the elevations.
I was trying to think like a designer. You guys are influencing me here.
Well, I really like
So-
natural light, and if you
Yeah, I
can
know, and that's-
maximize or
So,
enhance your project.
yeah, I mean, I thought about it both in the, the original, that small window on that portion just, just for the addition. So, yeah, that
The
area.
kitchen.
Yep, the kitchen. And then also on the bottom left-hand corner, there's that small window, but in the front, there's a blank wall. So those were the two areas when I reviewed the plans that seemed to strike me. And I thought somebody was going to say something. I'm happy to accept the project as is, but if that, if you had been thinking about that and you would want to consider, I would also consider it.
Well, if my project, I would add a couple windows there, sure. I mean, it's up to the, I would say or applicant's choice, but I would add a few more windows, sure. It's a great suggestion, but they do have the double doors in the back. One window in the back that will kind of balance out some natural light. No, the point's well taken. I always like more natural light rather than less.
I want to make sure I understand what window you're talking about.
I believe she's talking about the north elevation, bottom floor adding
North,
some
right.
window there.
Here, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the south
Maybe
Next
at the
to the right, yeah.
kitchen.
here?
Yeah.
Kitchen might have cabinets.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that didn't change from existing. We're not really redoing the kitchen.
Right. Yeah.
In fact, beyond the rectangle of our addition, we're not really doing much.
Right, thank
And
you.
the deck.
So, sorry, this is our discussion. If we have a question, we'll bring you back up.
Okay.
But thank you for trying to explain. Yeah, so kitchen is there, there are cabinets, and again, I think it's a nice design. It was just something that I was prepared for someone else to bring up. Support it. But I'm happy if there's a motion to move forward.
I'm happy to support it, and if the applicants wanted to add a window there, it's fine with me. As they bring it for permit, adding a window on the lower floor would be perfectly acceptable in the family room. Felt it needed a little more light. Sometimes it's TV rooms, they want them a little darker.
Anyone have a motion?
Sure, I move that we approve 511 San Carlos as presented.
I'll second it.
Yes, Commissioner McLeod,
Yes.
Commissioner Bowman,
Yes.
Chair Pearson.
Yes.
Great.
Okay, so the story polls will remain up for 2 weeks, which will be the appeal period, and after that time, staff will contact you to let you know the status of your permit. So congratulations, and thank you.
Okay, good luck.
So next item on the agenda, announcements. Does staff have any announcements?
Yeah, I don't have much. So this Monday at City Council, the APR is on the consent calendar, but we are also doing a staff presentation of essentially our strategic plan update as well. So if you're interested in what the city has done departmental-wide, that will be a nice meeting to come to. The other thing I just wanted to bring up, you sometimes get emails to the Planning Commission that are general planning inquiries, but you did get one about 545 San Pablo. So that is the Caspers, the old Caspers building, where you all did approve an outdoor dining area, and the plan was to turn it into a restaurant with outdoor dining. That plan has not come to fruition. It is up for sale. And just to clear any misconceptions, the agent is listing it for what they believe can be built, but there is no entitlement. So I let her know that too, like it could be this. Hopefully, I would like to see this as an opportunity, getting back to our earlier discussion. But at this point, you didn't miss anything. There is no entitlement. And other than that, unless you have announcements, our next meeting is March 25th in 2 weeks, and we will have a meeting. So.
Okay.
Any
We have to take a roll call for that, or no? We just say, okay, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.